morning. I was invited to speak at this conference yesterday evening. Literally. They were like, "Do you want to speak tomorrow at Infoshare?" And I'm like, sure. Like, all right, go and have a great party. And then tomorrow when you wake up, we'll pick you up and we'll drive you right onto the stage. This is kind of been my experience. So first of all, by show of hands, which should be most of you people, who has no fucking idea who I am? Raise your hand, be proud. I need it for my ego, thank you. A good amount of people have no fucking idea. It's early in the morning. I thought I'll sit into this startup stage, just relaxing in that chair before I get rocking and rolling. So there's no way I'm gonna get through the whole presentation. I'm giving you that from the get-go, but we're still gonna get through some really valuable stuff. What I wanna talk about is what I'm most passionate about, which is how to get to customers, right? All right. So, here's one of my favorite JFK quotes. The only reason to give a speech, the only reason to give a talk is to change the world. That's why I'm here. That's why I didn't sleep a little longer, although I kind of wanted it this morning. And when I say change the world, it's not about like changing every human's life. It's about just impacting one person at a time. If I can get one person here to do something they weren't planning to do before they showed up here, that's good. My job is done. So my call to action for all of you today is, as I'm going through these next few slides and sharing some tactics and some ideas with you, I don't just want you to be going like, sounds good, that's interesting, oh, maybe I should do this. All I want you to do is pick one thing that you're actually gonna do. You know, even better if you do it today. You're like, but today I'm at a conference. What the fuck are you doing here if you're not here to do something, right? You're here to actually create value. Look at the amount of people that are here. If we multiply that by our hourly rate, if we all were working, there's a lot of fucking money. So I find it my personal responsibility to make sure that we create more value here talking to each other than if we all were just like working at our desk or at our office, all right? So, a little bit about myself, since a lot of you don't have any fucking idea who I am. Originally from Greece, born and raised in Germany. Those are very different cultures, you know, in Europe. And I dropped out of high school when I was 17, 18, started my first business. I never had a real job in my life. I always had to start a company to then hire me, so I am not unemployed. That's kind of how I went through life so far. So, 10 years ago, I decided to sell everything I had. I bought a one-way ticket and I moved to Silicon Valley. And I'm not gonna bore you about that story, but it was not as easy as I thought it would be. Let's say the first half of the decade was just painful, eating shit all day and failing really, really miserably. And then the last 5 years have been pretty all right. So the last company that I've started, which is most relevant to what I'm gonna be talking about today, is a company called Elasticsales. What we do with Elasticsales is we helped venture-backed startups in Silicon Valley figure out a predictable and scalable sales model. And then we hired all the salespeople for these B2B startups and scaled their sales efforts. Make sense? All right, so we saw a shit ton about everything that's wrong, you know, when you're trying to sell, when you're really, really early in technology. And we saw everything that was working right. For a while, we were like the best kept secret in Silicon Valley. All the VCs were talking to us, all the B2B SaaS and startup CEOs were talking to us, but nobody else really knew we existed because we always called in the name of the company. We're like a white label sales force, if you want so. In running Elasticsales and doing this for over 200 venture-backed startups, we developed a little piece of software internally called Close.io. It's sales software that allows salespeople to close more deals, make more sales. And eventually, that little internal piece of software, we decided to launch it and release it. And it turned out that, a lot of people loved it. And very quickly, it became a much bigger business than the services side. And today, that's all we do. Close.io is a highly profitable, multi-million-dollar software company. We're 25 people, all remote, no office, people around the world who work. And our nearest, closest, smallest competitor in the CRM space, which is a very competitive space, the nearest, closest competitor is, I think, 300 employees. We're 25 and we have more revenue than them. So I love with a passion entrepreneurship, and I love with a passion sales. That's my entrepreneurial superpower, if I have any. Make sense? So all right, so let's talk about this a little bit. Or not, you could just watch me and imagine there were slides there, because that's what I expected there to be. All right, oh shit, yeah, before I forget this, I wanted to give you the best thing up front, because I didn't know if we get to it by the end. So if by the, if at some point you're like, I want to learn more about startup sales, how to hire salespeople, how to get to my first 1,000 customers, how to negotiate on the phone, how to do an effective product demo. I've written, this is not true, 6 books, a bunch of templates. Just send me an email, bundle motherfucker, to Steli@close.io. You have to use this exact subject line or it's not going to work. Does it make sense? Cool. All right. So there's 3 things that you have to do to succeed in sales. And sales is really simple. It doesn't matter if you sell for a startup or you sell in any other context. It's always going to be simple. I see a lot of people are like debating with themselves. Should I take a picture? Do I really want this thing or not? All right. If you miss the picture, don't worry. Steli@close.io. Just type Steli into Google. You'll find my email address. It's very simple. Then just tell me, send me the stuff. There's 3 simple rules to succeed in sales. Sales isn't that difficult. Logically, it's not that hard to do. It's emotionally difficult to do. Everything I'm going to tell you today is basic, simple fucking advice. It's fundamentals. Nothing is groundbreaking. The reason why I'm still talking about it is because 99.9% of people just don't do it. Like if I was a health coach, my whole talk would be like, you want to be healthy? Move your fucking body around and eat broccoli. Like just eat good stuff and move your body. And people would be like, yeah, that makes sense, but I don't want to do that. That's pretty much my whole life. Like I get invited, I go, and people go, how can I lose weight and be more healthy? I'm like, just move your body around and then just eat good stuff. And they're like, that makes sense, but do you have any other advice? I'm like, no, I really don't. Well, but what about, do you have some pills? Do you have like some kind of a secret, fruit from the Amazon I could be drinking as juice and then I lose weight? No. Can we get a surgery? No. I have no other advice for you. Everything I have is not a shortcut, it's a fundamental, all right? So 3 basic things if they appear on that screen. I don't know why they show me on the screen. You already see me here. I don't know, double is better. I don't get it, but it's nice. All right, so anyways, show up, follow up, and close. It's very simple. Rule number 1 when you're trying to make anything happen in the world is you have to show up. Showing up means making the first connection. It could be showing up at a conference like this. It could be showing up by picking up the phone and calling somebody. It could be showing up by sending an email. It doesn't matter. Making the first leap to connect with another person to try to move something forward in life. Does that make sense? This is yes. This is no. This is, I really just want to sit here for a moment. Just give me a moment, all right? Okay, so I'll try. Does that make sense? All right, we're warming up. Okay, it's very early in the morning. I don't want to be screaming as loud as I am either. But I feel a responsibility. All right, so first is showing up. The thing is, most people, we don't really want to show up, but there's a lot of competition in the showing up part of it. There's still a lot of people that will call people, send emails. There's a lot of competition. It's a lot of noise around the showing up part. Here's where winning and fortunes are made, and here's where you race completely alone. It's in the follow-up and the follow-through. It's the most powerful advice I give, measured on the daily emails I get from people telling me they closed millions of dollars of deals just by following my follow-up advice. Here's what I mean by follow-up. Once you have a positive connection, a conversation, somebody shows interest in what you do, your service, your company, an investor is curious, press might write about your startup, whatever the fuck it is. Once that first connection happens, typically we follow up maybe once or twice, and if we don't hear back anymore, we just go all whining, go, oh my God, this person hates me, he thinks I'm ugly, he's rejecting me, he's so arrogant, right? We tell some kind of a story to ourselves, and we just stop communicating. Is my simple follow-up advice. When we have a positive interaction and you seem interested and there seems to be a good fit, I will follow up forever. How long did you say, Steli? Forever. Forever. This is very simple. I'm not that complicated of a person. Forever until I get a result. Yes is good. No is good. Maybe is where startups go to die. Maybe is where anything valuable in life goes to die. There's no learning in maybe. If you get a ton of no's from people, that's good. You know this shit isn't working. Eventually, I guarantee you, if you get like 1,000 no's in a row, eventually you're going to go, maybe I need to change something. this isn't working. If you get a lot of yes, that's positive feedback. You're like, shit, I need to do more of this. This is working, I'm crushing it. When you're in the maybe zone, there's nothing to be learned, nothing to be gained. You can be all like positive, about it, and we're all like too optimistic. If you're a startup person, we're gonna be all like, oh my God, I think they really loved it. I think this is really gonna happen. I think it's gonna be amazing. We just have to wait for another week, and then they're gonna call us, and they're gonna purchase us, or they're gonna invest in us. I have a very good feeling. He was smiling at me as I was walking out. I saw the look in his eye. He's gonna put money in. And then what do? You wait. You wait and you wait and you wait, and you're running on hope. You're not learning anything. You're not changing anything. You're not creating any outcomes. So, I've told this story on many stages around the world. I'll give you just one example of this if you're critical. There's a person, he's a billionaire. He's built a product all of you have used. I don't even need to know you. I know you all have used this product. I get introduced to this person through a common friend. And that friend is saying, hey, you should meet with Steli. They're doing something really interesting. You might want to invest. He replies and says, yes, I'm interested in meeting you. I go all excited. I'm dancing in the office. I'm sending a reply. Yeah, hey, how can we do we want to meet tomorrow or the other day? Silence. Send another email. Hey, how about this or that? Silence. 48 emails later. 48 emails later. You know what his reply was? Hey dude, thank you so much for the follow-up and follow-through. We had a crisis overseas. I had to travel. Can you do tomorrow 1 p.m. San Francisco office? I'm like, sure. You know how all my 48 follow-up emails read? They were all very similar. Something along those lines. Hey dude, another beautiful day in paradise. How about Tuesday this time or Thursday this time? Hey, another great day. We just launched this. How about meeting this week? Next email was like, hey, I think you're doing great. I hope you're doing amazing. How about meeting, tonight at this time? It's just fucking shortcut to the point. Until I get a no or a yes, it's my responsibility to follow up and follow through. And then the last thing you have to do once you do that is you have to close. And here's the thing, people are like, what's the magic to closing and what's the hackety, how do you hypnotize people to giving you your money and all that? I believe closing is very simple. Here's the number one startup mistake when it comes to closing a deal. The number one mistake that I've seen hundreds and hundreds, thousands of CEOs and startup salespeople make this one mistake. You know what it is? They never asked for the close. They never even attempted to ask for it. They finished the conversation with something along those lines. Well, this was really great. This was a very positive meeting. And yeah, we will send you more information. And then, we're ready whenever you guys just get back to us. And we are gonna, this is the end of the conversation. Like, how about, hey, does this make sense? Did this seem like a good fit? Yeah, all right, are you ready to buy? Here's my 2 rules to closing. You have to ask for it, please, in no unspecific terms, no ambiguous terms, not like, oh, so how do you feel about the economy? That's not closing, right? If the person says, I think the economy is really strong, that doesn't mean they're gonna give you money, right? You ask, do you have money in your pocket? Do you wanna reach into it and hand it to me? Right? What will it take for you to become a customer of ours? This is a very powerful question. Ask this very early. When I have a conversation with a prospect or even with an investor, and it seems like there could be a fit, I go, hey, from all I've learned, it seems like we could work well together. Let me ask you, what would it take for you to become a customer of ours? And then everything they say is gold. And you always follow up by that question. So if they say, oh, I don't know, I go, ooh, this is interesting. What do we need to do for you to know? Well, I might have to go back to the team and talk a little bit more and see what other stakeholders want. Don't stop there. Most salespeople will go, oh, that sounds great. Go to your team and talk to them. Thank you. No. I'm like, all right. So once you go to the team, you talk to them and you come back. And let's say the team liked it. What do we do next? Are we in business? No. Then we would have a pilot phase and you would have to do da and da. All right, okay. And now, are we in business? Are you paying me money by that point? No, because then you're going to have to talk to our legal department. All right. Again, most people at some point will stop asking questions and will go, that sounds like a great plan. Thank you. All we have to do is talk to this person and their team and the legal department and boom, we're in business. No. You ask the question specifically. Once we've talked to your legal department, are we in business then? No. Then you have to go through procurement. Okay. So we're going through procurement. What's next? Well, then you have to talk to my grandmother who has to read your palm, and see your future. All right. And then, are we then in business? Yes. Then we would buy. Boom. All right. Now I have a roadmap, what it will fucking take to make this happen. Now, this might be too long. They might want me to do things I don't want to do. There might be other red flags, like you ask them, hey, what would it take for you to buy? And they go, you know what? I wanted to have this conversation. I invited you for a 3-hour presentation with our executive team, and we had the entire company come in and ask you questions. But our budget is really allocated to 2025, so this was more of an information session. You go, oh shit. Well, at least you should ask that question earlier, but at least you figured it out in the first meeting. Most startups, they spend 9 months and then they figure out, oh, the customer doesn't have a budget. That hurts. That will kill your company. Right? Ask the question, what will it take for you to become a customer? Ask it early. Once, just to demonstrate this point, I had a customer come in for a demo. They sat down and I went, before I start the demo, are you ready to buy? And they looked at each other and they're like, we did not see the demo yet. I'm like, no problem. You seem like very decisive people. I wanted to check in. I'll come back to this question after the demo. And I started the fucking demo. A close is not a once-in-a-lifetime situation. You can ask, they can say no. If somebody tells me no, it's actually awesome. When I say, hey, are you ready to buy? And they go, I don't think this is right for us. I don't get depressed. I don't go, oh my God, it's not right for them. I get excited. This is a moment of truth. I can learn something here. This person is honest to me. Oh, you don't think you're going to buy? Please tell me more. It seems so promising to me. What did I miss? What is missing? What will we have to do? Educate me, give me insights, teach me so I know what it takes to make this happen. I don't want them to be nicey. I want to make things happen. I want to create value. I want to close deals. I want to save time, which is the most valuable resource you have. Closing. There's only 2 rules to it. Ask early, ask often. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's not like, oh my God, I need to wait for the weather and the stars to be aligned in the right way, because if I ask once, I can never ask anybody in my life again to give me money, right? That's not how it works. No matter how amazing you are in sales, no matter how great your company is, if you're doing the right things, you're going to be getting more no's than yeses. If all you do is getting a yes, you're now a comfortable little bitch and you're only asking people want to give you money, right? No matter how successful you are, you should be getting a lot of rejection. Rejection is healthy. It doesn't taste good, it doesn't feel comfortable. It's like fucking running or eating broccoli to some people, but it's good for you. You need it. We all need it. Every day we need a little bit of rejection. All right? So, with that being said, I'm not going to go through any of the other stuff. So at least if there's one question, we have 5 minutes. I know that it's too early and you guys are probably like, wait a second, we were promised 23 minutes of keynote and I don't want to ask a question. But if somebody has a question, raise your hand. If there's somebody here that's like, I'm curious, I have something to say. Not all at once, There you go. There you go, sir. Ask a question. Thank you so much. You're my favorite person here. Yes, that's a great question. So the question is, any advice if you were a European venture-backed startup and you want to sell to the US? So yes, I do have a lot of advice, but to summarize it for you, first, I would market to the US. I would market in a way, today you can actually, if you publish in English, if you write content in English, if you do ads in English, if you get press that is English writing press, you should be getting some attention around the world. People should be trickling in as customers from around the world. I would, depending on what you do, I would look to gain some traction in the local markets before actually starting to focus on the US market. When you're ready, if you have some traction already and you're like, we really want to penetrate the US market a lot more, it depends on what kind of a customer you have, what you have to do. But honestly, it's easier today than ever to penetrate the US market. And you can do it in multiple ways. You could do it by like opening a big office and hiring a ton of people in step 1. I don't advise you to do that. It's very risky. You can do it by just visiting frequently. I had a friend from Berlin. He's a big VC now and he was a very successful founder. All he did was every 3 months, he would fly to the Bay Area for 2 weeks. The funny thing is, it doesn't matter if you live there or not. Like if you live in my neighborhood, I'm not gonna see you more than twice a year. Like I'm just not. But once I see you 2 or 3 times a year, you're now becoming part of the internal circle, right? I'm like, oh my God, I've seen you multiple times. I've heard your story. 6 months ago you were doing this, and now you've grown. And once you build a little bit of a network that people really know you and trust you, you're going to be able to do business really easily. So my advice would always be start visiting really frequently and building a network. Then start acquiring customers that way, and then eventually you can hire people, out of that network that you're building. But if you want to just bomb into, parachute into the US, open an office, hire a bunch of people, there's a high chance that you're going to make mistakes, hire the wrong people. People are not going to trust you anyway. It's going to take a really long time. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, next question. Anybody? Very entrepreneur. I'm going to insult you people. You have no questions? I'm not going to shout at you. That's fine. That's totally cool with me. All right, so then here's what I'm going to do instead. Let's do this. There's 2 more minutes. I know you don't want to do. Most people don't really want to do this. It's like if this was the end of my fitness talk, I'd be like, we have 2 minutes. Let's go run, people. And you're like, are you crazy? I came to a conference to sit and hear about running, not to do it. But here's my call to action for you. Before you listen to more talks, before more shit is happening, do me one favor. Think about one conversation that has been going on, investor, employee, press, friend, something, your mom, a family, that you have not concluded either to a yes or to a no. It's in the maybe stage. And you haven't followed up in a little while. And then all I want you to do is make a call or send an email. Right now, right after this talk, I'm going to give you 1 minute to do it before the next speaker's on stage. And make something happen. Please, please, please. Don't just come here and be inspired. Inspiration is important and amazing. Don't just come here to learn things. Do shit. All right, that's it. That's all I got, people. Thank you so much.
All right. Steli, thank you very much for that little kick in the ass for all of us to help us with the sales. Thank you.